Hello, Romi. You are the first one. Hola, hola. Hello, hello. Hello, my Princess Sunday. How are you? Hola a todos. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Hi, everybody. How are you doing today? Boa tarde, Yulaine. Hello, dear Romi. Thank you for being here. Gracias a todos por unirse con nosotros el día de hoy. Hola a todos. Bueno, el día de hoy estoy muy contenta porque vamos a tener la oportunidad de unir dos de mis pasiones, como son hello, welcome, my dear Arya. Hello, Jose Meusen. My dear Jose, she is the designer of the beautiful angel. Boom, boom. Como les estaba diciendo, el día de hoy me siento muy contenta porque en este vivo vamos a tener la oportunidad de unir dos de mis pasiones, lo que es el Zentangle y el origami. Y quise traerles a Romi, que es una artista grande del Zentangle, ya van a ver ustedes. Hello everybody, welcome. Welcome everybody who's joining. I am so happy because today we are going to put together, we're going to combine two beautiful arts I love. And we are going to put together, we're going to combine origami and Zentangle. And I couldn't bring somebody better than Romi because I love Romi's work. Hola, Ale. And today we are going to fold a beautiful angel designed by my dear friend Jose Melsen, who is over here, and we're going to talk about Zentangle with Romina. Vamos a platicar de Zentangle con Romi porque hay muchas personas que quieren comenzar a aprender Zentangle y lo consideran muy difícil. Y no es difícil, ya van a ver. So we are going to bring Romi and we are going to begin the live with our special guest. Romi, I'm coming for you. Veamos. Romi, Romi, Romi. Okay, I send the invitation to Romi. Get ready. Prepárense todos. Romi. And we are going. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Good morning. Good morning.
I am super excited, you know.
I'm so excited too. I think this is going to be such a beginning of a beautiful relationship.
I know, Romi. Wow. Oh my God. Thank you. Hello, Karina, Dora. Romi, before beginning, I want to tell you thank you so much for accepting my invitation. This is going to be the first live that I have related with Zentangle because almost all my lives are just about origami. But this time, we're going to focus in Zentangle. So thank you so much.
Oh, I think this is going to be so fun. Thank you for having me. And hello, everyone out there. I'm so excited to meet you all.
Quiero presentarles a Romi. Ella es Romi Marx. Ella es una maestra certificada de Zentangle. Romi es de California y Romi tiene un trabajo precioso en su vida de Zentangle Artist. Ahora, ¿por qué me gusta mucho el trabajo de Romi? Porque Romi usa colores. Entonces vamos a hablar acerca de eso. For the people who don't know Romi, she's Romi Marx. She's a Zentangle instructor. She's a certified Zentangle teacher. She is from California, and she has a beautiful work in Zentangle. And what I love the most is her colors. Romi, tell us, how did you begin in Zentangle?
So,
can you explain us what is Zentangle? Because sometimes people say, what is Zentangle?
Yeah. What is that? What are you
what
doing?
What is that? Yeah.
And can I do it? Yeah, so Zentangle, to just give it down to the basics here, Zentangle is a meditation where you draw structured patterns and you put them all together and you create beautiful abstract art with it. So it's basically just learning how to draw a pattern. So if you can write your name, you can do Zentangle, because all it is it's curves and lines that we put together to create beautiful abstract art. That's it.
No matter it looks very intricate and difficult, right?
Even if it looks really difficult, you know, sometimes the most intricate patterns are the most simple to create. You know, for me, I know that when I look at stuff and I go, how did they do that? I look and I look and I look, and it's just one stroke at a time, one line at a time. And really, it's such a wonderful way to live your life too, because it's such a nice way to look at things when things look complicated. If you just break it down to one step at a time, that's really all Zentangle is. It's just another way to live your life.
And it's so meditative and relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And the repetition of it is what makes it so meditative. So it's like origami. When you are doing your folds, you can't think of anything else but doing your folds, right? So
Exactly.
when you're doing Zentangle, all you can think about is the line that you're working on, the shading that you're doing at that moment, and the rest of the world just goes away and you're in the present moment. And that's really what Rick and Maria, the creators of Zentangle, were trying to do. They were trying to bring you to the present moment as much as they could.
I love that. I love it. That's great, Romi. Let me translate it. Okay. I know you do speak a little bit of Spanish. After we're going to try your Spanish. Le estaba preguntando a Romina qué es el Zentangle. Entonces, Zentangle básicamente es dibujar patrones, repetir patrones. Ella dice que los patrones se dibujan una línea al mismo tiempo, una por una. A pesar de que los modelos se vean muy difíciles, muy complicados, muy complejos, los modelos más que se ven más complicados son a veces los más fáciles de realizar. Solamente que hay un secreto, que hay que ir de trazo por trazo. Los creadores del método de Zentangle se llaman Maria Thomas y
Rick Roberts.
Oh, Maria Thomas y Rick Roberts, ellos son los creadores del método de Zentangle. Entonces, lo que ellos querían es que nosotros al hacer esto, al practicar el Zentangle, nos relajemos, meditemos. Es casi igual que el origami. Con el origami, nosotros plegamos y para nosotros el mundo desaparece. Lo mismo pasa con el Zentangle. Vamos trazo con trazo y todo el mundo se nos va. Entonces, eso es el Zentangle. Romi, I have seen different kinds of Zentangle. For example, there is Zentangle that is only black and white in shadings. Your Zentangle that is so beautiful with many colors. And I have to point to this, especially to this, because your Zentangle is so beautiful. It has lots of colors and it has drawings. And I love that. It's not only the patterns and the strokes, it's also your art, your drawings. I love that.
Thank you so much. You know, generally, Zentangle, in its most basic form, what they call it the most traditional, is black and white. And that is how Rick and Maria started with Zentangle. And there are so many of us out here that are practicing it. It was probably inevitable that somebody was going to start to bring color into it. And now Rick and Maria are starting to do more color in their work too. You know, they'll do little hints of gold, or they'll do it in beautiful sepia colors. And now they're starting to use blues and purples and all different kinds of things. So I think that it's one of those, the Zentangle family, we all learn from each other. And I think that they have learned from us and we have learned from them. And we're kind of on this journey together, which I think is so lovely.
That's beautiful. And you know, like I see the connection with origami, because origami began in the same way. The traditional way was just a square,
yes,
and just one sheet of paper per model. And now origami has evolved. For example, you have modular origami. You use different sheets of paper. You don't use just a square. You are using circles. You are using triangles. a lot of shapes. So
Yeah.
that's something that I love. So there is a relation, a very special relation between origami and Zentangle.
I think so too. I think so too. And I think that when you have as many people practicing origami and Zentangle, they have a tendency to take it along on its journey, because as they evolve, so does the form, right? So origami has evolved because of all the people that practice it, and Zentangle has evolved because of all the people who practice it as well. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, that's true. That's really, really true. Le estuve preguntando a Romy sobre el Zentangle, porque ustedes van a encontrar Zentangle, que es el tradicional, que es blanco, negro, con sombras. Está ahora el Zentangle con muchos colores, como el de Romy. Y Romy me dice que la comunidad de Zentangle aprenden uno del otro. Entonces ellos están aprendiendo y ahora están haciendo Zentangle con colores, Zentangle de dos colores nada más. O sea, ellos están trabajando y aprendiendo uno del otro. Igual que el origami. Nosotros comenzamos con el origami tradicional, que es una sola hoja. Y ahora tenemos origami modular, tenemos diferentes formas, triángulos, trabajamos con círculos, es maravilloso. Romy, I would love you to show people some of your work, because as I was pointing out, your Zentangle is so beautiful. I love those drawings. I love those colors. Oh my God, they are powerful. So your Zentangle gets anybody's attention.
Well, I would like to say thank you first off, because for me, I was taught by a teacher who was very non-traditional. She started us in black and white, but then it quickly shifted to learning about mandalas and learning about how to incorporate different things into Zentangle. So, you know, just right off the top, when you were talking about, you know, seeing images inside, so you can see, here's my pattern work all around here, here's mandala work that's underneath here. But you know, our beautiful butterfly, he also has many patterns, and one of the things that I've learned from Zentangle is there are patterns everywhere. It's on the street, it's on a building, it's in nature, it's everywhere you look. And if anything, Zentangle has taught me to look at the world much more differently. So, you know, you see beautiful, you know, a beautiful Art Deco on the side of buildings where they, you know, included all this gorgeous work. And so it's everywhere you look. Just to show you some, this is a very early piece that I did with mandala, and you can see there's Zentangle all throughout the mandala itself. Yeah. You can keep it very, very simple, or you can get very ornate with it. And so for me, when I started to work with mandalas, I said, oh, this needs color. I feel the need for color. And then I started to build off of it, and I even started to bring it in where I would use photographs.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
mandala work, Zentangle work, tipple here, butterfly wings. The Zentangle, it's in nature, and it's in our cities, it's in the countryside, it's everywhere you look. So it's really about, when you're living your life, being here more present than you were before. Yeah.
Yes. Ay, Romy. You know, when you are showing me, ¡ay, la Mona Lisa! ¡Wow! Miren qué linda la Mona Lisa con todo ese Zentangle de atrás. That is art, Romy. I love it. Wow.
I hope Da Vinci won't be angry with me.
No, why? Why? I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Wow, Romy. So Zentangle gives you the opportunity to be creative, to do whatever you want to do. So it's not only patterns. You can fly, you can draw. If you like cats, you can draw cats. You can draw butterflies, you can draw flowers, mandalas, anything that you want, right?
Yeah, you know, what I found was, as I started doing all of these patterns, my regular drawing got better. And so what I noticed is there's a correlation between when you're doing your pattern work, and then freehand work got easier and easier for me. And so what I find is that one influences the other. So as I kept working, my other artwork got better as well. And I wanted to bring them together. It was the perfect marriage for me to bring them together. And I think that for a lot of people who start Zentangle, it's kind of the gateway art, because then they go and they do watercolor, or they do color pencil work, or they end up doing origami, or they do painting, whatever it is. It just kind of ushers you into the world of creativity in a gentle way.
You know, you are my role to follow, because after that I am going to try to use colors in Zentangle, because I am so afraid of colors. Jose, the designer of the angel, she uses a lot of colors and she makes mandalas and a lot of things with a lot of colors, and I say, no, I cannot. But I am going to be a little bit brave, and I'm going to try to play and learn, because I love your work, Romi.
Oh, and I love your work. I'm so in awe of the things you do. I think we're going to have many, many combinations of things to do together.
Yes, that's true. I want to show you something, Romi. Oh, but first, I want you to tell me about your experience. How do you get to Zentangle? How do you begin Zentangle?
So for about 20 years, I was a yoga teacher in San Francisco, and I practiced yoga with a woman who was very near and dear to my heart. She doesn't live in this area anymore. She moved away. But she had a beautiful altar in the yoga studio. And one day, right next to her Buddha, she had a little Zentangle. And I said to her, I said, Jean Marie, what is that? And she goes, that is Zentangle. And I said, can I do it? Do you think I'm far enough along in my yoga practice? And she said, Romi, you can do Zentangle. You don't have to be a yogi to do Zentangle. And so she took me to go visit her teacher. And I took with that teacher for a year, and I loved it so much. I went and I got certified in Rhode Island with Rick and Maria. And for me, Zentangle has been a saving grace, because you know, we have had a very difficult time the last few years with COVID, and now with some of the issues that are going on in the world. And for me, it keeps me calm, it keeps me grounded, it keeps me feeling safe. And when I'm upset, I go and I sit down and I practice Zentangle, and it helps me to work my way through things that are giving me a hard time.
Excellent. The same feelings we have when we do origami. So that is like our refuge. That's the place that gives us something to be protected from everything around. Yeah, that's great. And that's a healthy way to keep your mind busy. So you are not focusing on bad things that are going on outside. So you are doing something creative, something healthy for your mind and for your heart. And you are really, really focused on that. And you keep your health, your emotional health.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's really, it's, if your emotional health is stopped up, the rest of your body is going to go with it. And so I really do credit Zentangle for helping me with any kind of pain that I've dealt with in my emotional life, but also any pain that I have in my physical life as well. You know, I've had a lot of struggles with some chronic pain, and Zentangle helps me to not necessarily ignore it, but it makes it disappear for a while.
Yeah, it's a distraction.
It's a great distraction.
Exactly, yes.
Or redirection, as it were.
Yeah, amazing. Yo le estaba preguntando a Romi sobre el Zentangle. ¿Qué es el Zentangle? ¿Cómo ella llegó a lo que es Zentangle? Romy me estaba explicando que nosotros encontramos patrones en la naturaleza, en el suelo, en las piedras, en todo hay patrones. Entonces, el Zentangle es casi igual, es dibujar patrones. Así como hacemos origami y hacemos una mandala y estamos repitiendo los pasos para hacer un modular, lo mismo sucede con el Zentangle. Y lo bonito del Zentangle es que no te limita, sino que solo hacer patrones. Tú puedes incorporar lo que son dibujos, como lo ha hecho Romi. Romi, ella ha incorporado lo que son fotografías, como nos enseñó la Mona Lisa, Marilyn Monroe. Ella también tiene unas presosuras de Frida Kahlo. Y dice Romi que a ella el Zentangle le ha ayudado mucho, especialmente en este tiempo de COVID. Ella dice que la enfoca, la ayuda a mantener su paz emocional, y creo que es lo mismo que nosotros sentimos cuando hacemos origami. Ahora, ¿cómo comenzó Romi en el mundo del Zentangle? Romi dice que ella estaba tomando su clase de yoga. Ella es maestra de yoga también. Y una vez, una maestra de yoga en su estudio tenía un Zentangle y ella le dijo, ¿qué es eso? Y dijo, ese es Zentangle. Y ella dijo, ¿crees que yo pueda hacer eso? Y él dijo, claro que sí, Romi, tú lo puedes hacer. Y así es como Romi comenzó. Cuando ustedes hacen Zentangle, su dibujo mejora. Ustedes no pueden decir, no puedo dibujar, porque todo eso va mejorando. Ustedes pueden incorporar colores, pinturas acrílicas, pinturas de agua, todo lo que ustedes deseen. Wow, Romi, that's really, really amazing. That's creative. And I didn't know about Zentangle. For me, I have two inspirations. One of them is the designer of the angel, my dear Jose Meusen, because she makes some beautiful things with Zentangle. And I have a friend in Germany, her name is Tina. And Tina, she loves origami and Zentangle.
I follow her. I follow her.
You know Tina, right?
I know Tina. Yeah.
Yeah. Tina sent me some things, and I want to show you this star. This is a star that Tina made. Yeah. And you see, this is the Zentangle over here. And the envelopes.
Oh,
the envelopes are so beautiful. Yeah. You can see over here from Germany. And Tina showed me the paper that she makes. So the paper, when I saw this was magic for me. So I said, I want to do it. I want to learn to do it. So imagine this one is a very famous calendar designed by a famous artist also. She's Carmen Sprung, and she did it with Zentangle. And also she sent me, this was her first tile. And she explains me the different colors. So that was my inspiration. And from that day I said, oh, I have to learn Zentangle. And I have been learning and learning. But it was a little bit difficult to begin because I was looking for, okay, first, what materials am I going to use? Or how am I going to begin? So, Romi, could you tell us how can we begin in Zentangle if we want to do it? Yeah. Or the materials, the basics that we need.
sure.
Hello, teacher. A friend from Turkey joins us. Yeah.
So what I love about Zentangle is that you can do Zentangle anywhere. You know, I talk often about how I travel with a little kit that I keep. And so basically what you need, I'm just going to grab this really quickly.
En este momento, Romi le va a decir qué es lo que se necesita para comenzar con el Zentangle. A ver si se animan. Anímense porque no se van a arrepentir.
A tile, so just a small piece of paper. I happen to keep my tiles at the Tangled Yogi shop. So if people are interested, they can go to the Tangled Yogi shop and check them out. Or you can go to zentangle.com and you can get your tiles from zentangle.com. You can do them anywhere.
Romi, if people cannot buy tiles, for example, what is another solution that we can use when we don't have tiles, for example?
One of the things that Rick and Maria talk about is if you have good quality materials, you will have a better time and a more enjoyable time. So I always say smooth paper, like cardstock. Okay. You want to have a good pen. A micron pen is good, but you know, Staedtler makes good fine liners too. And I know that those are probably more prevalent than the Sakura. Sometimes Sakura is import. The Staedtler makes a really nice one. Might even have a Staedtler near me. And then the other thing that you want to have are some color pencils. For me, when I'm doing my Zentangle, I want to have good color pencils. Prisma is my favorite, but I know that a lot of people like the polychromos, which are beautiful. Those are oil-based versus wax-based. The polychromos are wonderful to work with in terms of doing blending. And as you get further along in Zentangle, you'll find out that you'll want to work with pastels and charcoal and all that kind of stuff. There's also the white liners that people might want to check out. Sakura makes a good white liner. The Jelly Roll or Signo makes a good white liner. And then I have now since discovered a new one. This is by a company called Mizu.
Mhm.
And this is my favorite to go over color pencils.
That's new for me. I didn't know that one.
Now, if they're looking for a good book on Zentangle, Zentangle has the primer, and it gives you all of the history of Zentangle if you want to learn about it. And it also has tangles inside that they can learn about. So this is a wonderful book. And then this is also a great book that they can check out as well. And they'll learn about making grids and all sorts of beautiful, easy, different ways to use Zentangle. So both of these books are wonderful books, and you can get these at zentangle.com, or I think you might be able to get them on Amazon, maybe. I'm not sure.
Well,
Not
for
Amazon?
me in Canada, I couldn't get them in Amazon. I had to order them from Zentangle, yeah.
From Zentangle, okay.
Yeah. Excellent. And the pencil, what kind of pencil?
Just a graphite pencil. You know, when Rick and Maria send out the little kits, they send out a little Zentangle pencil, but a regular graphite pencil will do. It's just fine. Yeah.
Exactly. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Para comenzar con el Zentangle, existen, esto se le llama tiles. En español, yo he visto que le llaman teselas. Entonces, si ustedes no pueden comprar las teselas, porque a veces cuesta mucho lo que es el trámite de lo que es el correo, entonces ustedes pueden hacer sus propias teselas. Solo necesitan cartoncillo. Miren, es un cartón así un poco delgado y tiene que ser liso, sin nada, sin textura. Van a necesitar eso. Van a necesitar también lo que son marcadores. Se recomiendan los Sakura, como dijo Romi, pero si ustedes no pueden o no tienen estos Sakura porque cuesta conseguirlos, pueden utilizar todo tipo de marcador, delgadito, Staedtler, cualquier tipo de marcador, solo que sea punta fina, fíjense bien. Colores, cualquier tipo de colores, si quieren comenzar a hacer Zentangle de colores, pueden usar pastel, colores de esos que tienen aceite, lo que ustedes quieran. Van a necesitar también un lápiz. El lápiz, si pueden conseguir de ese lápiz de grafito, el de carbón, ese es mejor, el que se utiliza para dibujar, el que es más negrito, porque ese es bien fácil de difuminar. Y también pueden conseguir un marcador blanco, como el que nos enseñó Romi, que es fácil, es bonito porque es para decorar los bordes, es sencillo. Y Romi nos mostró 2 libros que también pueden ustedes buscarlos en la página de Zentangle, ahí tienen esos libros. Y si no pueden conseguir los libros, hay tantos, pero tantos tutoriales en YouTube. Romi tiene un canal de YouTube. Miren, Romi, you have your YouTube channel, yes? What do you teach in your YouTube channel? Tell us.
So I teach many different classes on my YouTube channel, and some of the classes that are up there, this is one that's up there right now. So I'll take you step by step. We go through the whole thing together, and usually the classes are an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how fast or how slow you want to go. And so there's, I think, maybe around 50 classes on the YouTube channel right now. And so I take you step by step, you learn each pattern, and then you learn how to apply it to what we're actually working on, the composition. We learn shading, we learn how to do color, we learn blending, we learn the patterns themselves. So it's just everything all in one in a class. So you can go to Tangled Yogi 333 on YouTube, and all of the classes are there, and they're all free. And then I have my more advanced classes on my website, which is at tangledyogi.com. And you can go in there, and there's something called vintage videos, and those are more advanced classes for people to take.
Amazing. Great, great, great. I'm going to begin taking your YouTube classes first to see what's my relation with the color. So I hope it's a low relationship.
Oh, I know it will.
I hope, yeah. Si ustedes quieren comenzar y se animan a hacer Zentangle, ustedes pueden encontrar muchos tutoriales en YouTube. Y miren, ustedes se sientan y el mundo se desaparece, créanmelo. El canal de Romi es muy bueno. Por ejemplo, ella nos estaba enseñando la última tesela. Es una clase que ella ha hecho. pueden seguir a Romi. Busquen en Romi en su Instagram. Está el link donde van a ir al canal de YouTube de Romi. Tiene más de 50 clases gratuitas. Cada clase es como de 1 hora más o menos y en esa clase Romi les enseña desde lo básico, cómo comenzar con los puntitos, les enseña cómo hacer los diferentes trazos, también cómo pintar, cómo difuminar. Ella les enseña todo, absolutamente todo. Así que excusas no hay, solo les digo yo, anímense, no se cierren solamente a algo, a una cosa, a dos cosas. Aprendan muchas cosas porque son muy, muy útiles en la vida. Romi, you know, Romi, something I was amazed with Zentangle is that I was doing I remember my strokes, and I have a son. He is in, Arya. Yes, Arya. After we will share the link so you can go to Romi's classes, okay? Se me olvidó contarles también que para las personas más avanzadas, también Romi tiene clases avanzadas. Esas sí son pago, pero pueden comenzar con las de YouTube porque son buenísimas. So, Romi, when I was beginning in Zentangle, I was so focused. My son, he's 7 years old. He got there and he looked at me and he told me, Mommy, what are you drawing? And I said, oh, I'm doing Zentangle. And he told me, you know what? I want to learn. Yeah. And really? Do you want to learn? Yes. Okay, we're going to begin with these half moons. I don't remember what's the name of that one.
Crescent moon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crescent moon. And I began showing him and he did it so beautifully. And after paradoxia, that's another one, right?
Yeah, paradox. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's paradox. I showed him that and he did it. And that's something also that you can work with children. Children love it, right?
I have kids as young as 4 in my class, and I've worked with people who are as old as 97. So people can do it at all ages, and it's wonderful. It's for everyone. It's not just for people who know how to draw. It's for people who want to learn how to draw. It's for people who want to find something that makes them feel calm and relaxed. It's for everyone.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Romi acaba de decir algo muy importante. Dice que el Zentangle no es para las personas que pueden dibujar, sino que para las personas que quieren aprender a dibujar. Así que si ustedes se consideran que ustedes no pueden dibujar, con el Zentangle ustedes van a ir adquiriendo habilidades para dibujar. Y le estaba contando yo a Romi que cuando yo comencé, yo me sentaba enfocada a hacer los diferentes trazos. Mi hijo de 7 años se queda viendo, mami, ¿qué es eso? Yo le dije, eso es Zentangle. Y mi hijo me dice, mami, ¿puedo aprender? Y le enseñé. Y saben, se sentó y lo hizo. Entonces, Romi me está diciendo que ella trabaja con bastantes niños y trabaja desde niños hasta adultos mayores y tiene un adulto mayor de 97 years old. Yeah. Imagínense, así que el Zentangle trae muchos beneficios al igual que el origami. Así que si ustedes lo pueden combinar, mucho que mejor. Romi.
Yes.
I would love you to show us the angel.
Okay.
Look at the difference in the angel. Look at my angel. My poor angel doesn't have any ornament. Look at Romi's angel. Do you see the difference? Miren qué belleza de ángel. Qué cosa más hermosa. Y es un ángel muy sencillo y queda precioso. Miren qué lindo. So that is Romi's angel. As I told you before, it was designed by Jose Meusen. And I forgot to tell you. So I am going to tell you. If you are going to fold the angel, please cut a circle. So please, everybody grab a circle, yeah, and cut it in half. Yeah, so I'm going to give you time to do that. You can use bigger paper, and I use a dish. I use a dish, so you can use anything that you want. So please grab your paper and draw a circle because we are going to begin soon folding the angel, and Romi is going to teach us how to decorate it. Para las personas se me olvidó decirles que el ángel se hace con un círculo. Entonces, tomen su papel, si tienen papel grande, háganlo grande, dibujen un círculo. En este momento yo utilicé un plato y tengan su círculo y córtenlo por mitad, ¿ok? Romy, this is the first time that you do origami when you folded the angel?
I've done one other piece before that was, and I don't have it here. I actually gave it to my mom. It was a beautiful cube that I had done where it had all these beautiful indentations in it. It was really lovely. It was one of the first things that I had ever done in Zentangle, but it wasn't necessarily origami. It was just, I think it was just a project that that they do where you had all these different folds and whatnot. It was gorgeous, but this is my first time doing an angel, and for a lot of my students, they know that angels are a big thing for me. I lost my godmom last year to COVID, and so every time I see an angel, I think of her. And I've done a few classes with angels as well. And for my students that are on the call, you can just use copy paper. It doesn't matter. Copy paper will work for this class. So if you don't have origami paper, you can just use really easy copy paper. It's fine.
Exactly. Miren qué belleza de ángel. El ángel de Romy está perfectamente decorado. Ella lo decoró de una forma muy linda y eso es lo que Romy nos va a enseñar el día de hoy. Romy is going to teach us how to decorate the angel. As you can see, everything she used there, all the decorations, they are Zentangle. And aren't they difficult, Romy?
No, these are really great, easy tangles to learn. I think it's really fun. And if you just go step by step, you can figure it out. It's pretty easy. Yeah.
You know, Romy, when I saw the paper my friend sent me, it was like, oh my God, I want to use Zentangle paper for my origami. Yeah. And because it looks beautiful.
It is.
When you learn how to do some tangles, you can get beautiful paper, original paper, and if you color it, it's going to be very unique. Yeah, so that's the relationship that I see between origami and Zentangle. If we put them together, we can get so many beautiful things.
Yeah, and what I love about Zentangle is that when it's brought together with origami, you can personalize it and make it yours. So if you have certain tangles that you love, you can put them on the paper first and then do your folds. And what a wonderful journey that would be. Or if you have a piece that you're working on, like an angel that has flat square space, you can customize it and really make it your own piece. You know, I love that when I teach my Zentangle classes, I tell my students to go off the rails, do their own thing. And really, I want to encourage everybody to do that. So even if they're doing origami, they can really personalize it and make it their own. You know, just like everybody's angel will look different, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, everybody's angel is going to look so different. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Romy me estaba diciendo, así como les estaba comentando yo a ustedes, que cuando ustedes combinan lo que es el arte del Zentangle con el origami, entonces ustedes pueden hacer cosas personalizadas, cosas que tienen su toque personal, cosas que van a ser únicas. A pesar de que hay mucha gente quizás que va a doblar el ángel, todos los ángeles van a ser diferentes, porque ustedes lo pueden decorar de la forma que ustedes quieran y da un toque personal muy lindo. Si ustedes lo pueden dar como un regalo, es algo muy bonito, la verdad. Entonces, vamos a comenzar. Preparen. Espero que tengan ya listo. Get your circle. Are you ready, Romy?
I'm ready.
Yes?
I'm ready to go.
Romy, any recommendation that you want to give us for the people who want to begin Zentangle, for the people who think that Zentangle is difficult, that they are not going to do it? They want to do it, but they still think that they cannot do it. So any recommendation for them?
Yeah. So this is something that Rick and Maria talk about a lot. There are no mistakes in Zentangle. So even if something happens that you weren't expecting, I want you to consider it a creative detour. So what we call it is an oops-opportunity. Okay. So, you know, there are times where like you might go on a road trip and you miss your exit on the freeway, but you end up someplace spectacular. I want you to think of Zentangle that way. The other thing that I want to say is that if you take it one line at a time, one stroke at a time, don't look at the big picture, take it one step at a time. It's a philosophy. It is a way to do this. It's a way to live your life too. If you look at things when it gets really, really big, that's very, very intimidating. If you just take it one step at a time, you can do anything.
Amazing, amazing piece of advice. Great.
Okay.
Le pregunté a Romy qué consejo le da a las personas que quieren comenzar con el Zentangle y dicen, no, yo no puedo hacer eso. Ahora, a veces el Zentangle puede ser intimidante. Intimidante es, si ustedes ven lo que es todo el dibujo, ustedes pueden quedar intimidados y decir, yo no puedo hacer eso. Pero, como dice Romy, todo lleva un paso, vamos a ir paso a paso, línea por línea, figura por figura, y ustedes van a ver qué cosas más lindas pueden hacer. En Zentangle no hay errores, no mistakes at all, no hay errores. Lo que ellos consideran, si ustedes se equivocan en una línea, entonces ellos lo llaman como una desviación creativa. Es como que ustedes vayan a un lugar y se desvían del camino y van a parar a otro lugar que es bonito. Entonces lo mismo pasa con el Zentangle. Si ustedes se equivocan en algo, no lo vayan a romper, a decepcionarse, a decir, yo ya no sigo. No, hay que continuar, porque siempre le va a salir algo muy lindo. That's something very important, because I don't want, sometimes when I make a mistake at the beginning, I say, oh no, I made a mistake, it doesn't look good. But at the end, it was something good, it was something original. And after I try it again and I do it well and I compare both of them and both of them look good.
Yeah. And, you know, people sometimes get really hung up on how a piece looks. Sometimes if you're too close, you need to back away for a minute and give it some time, give it a place to breathe, right? That's what I always say. You know, sometimes your Zentangle will go through the ugly teenager phase with pimples and everything. And then when you get to the other side of it, oh, it really did turn out great. This is really beautiful. And if it still doesn't feel beautiful, put it away in a drawer for a day or two and then come back to it and go, I don't know why I was being so critical. We are so critical of ourselves and we're so afraid to share what we have. I know that a lot of my students have told me they had teachers when they were younger that told them that they weren't creative. And it breaks my heart when I hear that, because everybody is creative. Everybody. And everybody has their best thing that they do. And I think that Zentangle is a great way to begin that creative journey. Give yourself time to practice. You didn't run before you walked, right? You walk first, then you run. Picasso has a really great quote. He says, learn the rules, then break them. So learn the rules like a pro and then break them like an artist. So when you are learning Zentangle, learn everything that you can and then break all the rules.
Yes.
And have fun.
Yes, that's what I love, breaking the rules. But we have to learn them first.
Learn it like a pro, break it like an artist. So really give yourself a chance to learn the foundation and then go with it.
Exactly. Great.
Yeah.
Dice Romy que el Zentangle a veces puede ser como un niño que está pasando por lo que es la adolescencia. Ustedes saben que en la adolescencia se dan muchos cambios. Pueden haber barritos, pueden haber muchas erupciones, la voz cambia, pero ya después de eso, las personas ya, ustedes dicen, qué lindo se ve mi hijo hoy. Ya cuando pasan todos los cambios y ya somos las personas que vamos a hacer, entonces ustedes dicen, valió la pena. Entonces el Zentangle es de esa forma. Vamos a ir paso por paso. Y Romy mencionó algo muy importante, una quote de Picasso, unas palabras que dijo Picasso que me encantaron, yo no las conocía. Dice Picasso, si ustedes aprendan primero las reglas como un profesional, apréndanse bien las reglas y después rompan las reglas como un artista. Entonces, es cierto. Si ustedes quieren romper las reglas y hacer algo nuevo, primero aprendan las reglas de cómo hacer, cómo llegar a eso. Y ya después, ustedes exploten su creatividad. Dice Romy que tiene algunos alumnos que los maestros les decían, tú no eres creativo. Y Romy es tan positiva que ella dice que todas las personas tenemos creatividad, pero tenemos que explotarla. Así que a explotar su creatividad. So, now we are ready, yeah? Yes. The angel is very easy. It's very simple. We're going to take maybe 5 minutes folding the angel. Yeah. So as I told you, get a circle and cut it in half. So I am going to switch the camera, Romy. So we begin folding the angel and you're going to tell me where to stop, okay? So we can decorate it, okay? Ok, bueno, vamos a darle vuelta, yo le voy a dar vuelta ya también a la cámara. Acá tengo un desastre con todo el papel y los colores. I have a mess over here with the colors, the paper and everything, but let's see. Ok, bueno, vamos a ver. Voy a darle vuelta. El ángel es de mi querida amiga José Meusen. The angel was designed by José Meusen. Romy, that's something important I need to ask you. Zentangle, all the traces, they have a designer, right?
All of the patterns are created by different people. So Zentangle has their patterns that they have created. And then people, Zentangle teachers, certified Zentangle teachers, they also have created tangles and submitted them so that you can find them on all different websites. But there's a really great website. I think it's called tanglepatterns.com. And you can go and find all of the tangles there. There's so many different ones to play with. You know, you can type it in on Pinterest. Oh, Pinterest and Zentangle. That's a rabbit hole.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Otra cosa que el origami tiene en común con el Zentangle es que todos los trazos de Zentangle tienen su creador, la persona que los ha creado, que los ha diseñado. Así que, bueno, vamos a comenzar a plegar el ángel. Mi círculo es grande. I use this paper, Romy, because it was big. Yeah, this is what I use for doing Zentangle, for practicing. Esto es lo que yo utilizo para practicar Zentangle. Les muestro. Son libretas accesibles que ustedes pueden encontrar en cualquier librería. Son libretas de dibujo. So these sketchbooks are very useful for beginning in Zentangle also. Okay, so the first thing that I want you to do is to fold your circle in half. And we are going to cut it. Aunque no lo crean, este angelito precioso de José Meusen está hecho con la mitad de un círculo. Así que vamos a cortarlo. Okay. Romy is ready.
All right.
Romy ya lo tiene listo, solamente para plegarlo. Entonces vamos a preparar nosotros nuestro ángel. We're going to make our angel ready so we can decorate it with Romy. I am going to turn off the comments so you can see clearly. And after I'm going to turn them on. Después lo voy a activar. Okay, so we are going to begin. Oh, sorry for these lines. I have some strokes here. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we are going to begin. I want you to take the half of the circle and we're going to fold it in half. Okay. After, we are going to bring these borders to the center line. Here, one here, and the other one here. You're going to be surprised to see how easy is Jose's angel. So this is what we're going to have. Now, if you don't want to get lost, you can mark a little bit here, just marking these lines. Why? Because this one, this border, you are going to align it with this line over here. Align it very well. And then you open. Now we're going to do exactly the same with the other border. We're going to align it with this line. Yep. Here. Okay. So this is what we have so far. Now, this line, we can see it's a valley fold. We are going to revert it to mountain fold. The first one, yeah? And we're going to do the same with the other one. This valley, we're going to make it mountain fold. Okay. And then you are just going to collapse. Here we have it. Yep. Now, this step, it's a little bit, not complicated, but it requires a little bit of attention. Este paso necesita un poquito de atención. Fíjense bien lo que vamos a hacer. Quiero que tomen el papel. So take the paper, and what you are going to do is try to align this one, this, with this line over here, and try to make the wing to go up like this. When you have it, you make everything perfectly flat, like this. Aquí lo tenemos. This paper is not origami paper, so it got, you see, it was torn, but anyway, lo vamos a hacer de esta forma, miren. Acá está. Si ustedes quieren, pueden tomar un lápiz y marcar una línea como esta. You can grab a pencil and, do you see this line? We're going to try to make one like a mirror reflex, and we're going to do the same here. And we're going to try to align again the wing following the same wing, the other wing. We're going to try to put them in the same level. Okay, like this. And we're going to make it flat here. Okay. So we have the angel like this. And the other side is going to look like this. This is the way we have to stop it, Romi, or not yet?
After you've finished this part, then you'll go ahead and you'll stop. We'll lay her flat.
Okay, so show me your back, the back of your angel. So I want to see. Oh yeah, so I think it's, yeah. Yeah, it's time to stop now.
And you can see mine is not perfect because I've only been doing this for a little while.
No, that's great. Your angel is good. My angel is bad. Look, this paper is thick. So I have this problem because the paper is thick. If you use copy paper, that's better because copy paper, it's better.
It's more malleable. Yeah, it's more malleable. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Romi, now you can guide us.
All right. So hopefully, listen, if you haven't had a chance to finish your angel, because I know that some of my students might be on the call and they've never done this before, and it takes a few tries, you can go over to Mariela's YouTube page, and it's called Origami Maniacs. And what's the number of the video? Do you remember?
Oh, let me see. I have it. Yeah.
I think it's 300, I think.
362. Yeah.
362. But if you type into where the little, there's a little magnifying glass, if you type in angel, it'll come right up and you can practice your angels. And then you can come back to this video because we'll post it on our YouTube page as well. So you can practice your angels and then you can come and do this with me as well. Okay.
Excellent. Excellent. Let me tell that to people in Spanish.
Sure.
Romi estaba diciendo en este momento que para las personas que no han podido plegar el ángel, porque tenemos personas que hacen solamente Zentangle y van a practicar origami por primera vez, entonces este ángel yo lo tengo en mi canal de YouTube en el video número 362. Pueden buscar Origami Maniacs 362 y así pueden practicar el ángel y luego regresar acá y decorarlo como lo va a decorar Romi en este momento. Así que vamos a ver. Romi, after I taught the angel, you know, I am going to flip my camera and I'm going to leave you just doing your Zentangle because I don't want to delay you. I don't want to be like a burden in your way, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so yo lo dejo en este momento. Vamos a seguir con Romi, pero ya no voy a estar yo acá. quiero decir, le voy a dar vuelta a mi cámara porque quiero que solamente Romi se enfoquen en Romi, en Romina. Veamos. Romi, is it Romi or Romina?
It's Romi, but Anna Maria used to call me that, Romina.
Okay, Romi. So everybody pay attention to Romi.
Okay. So I'm going to get started here, and I'm going to start with a graphite pencil. And the reason why we're going to start with a graphite pencil is because we want to use this to make a string. A string in Zentangle is the way that you divide the space. And so when we're adding different pieces to the actual angel itself, we're going to be using this as our string maker. So you're going to see me turn my angel on her side here, and I'm going to start by making a nice half circle that is fairly large on my angel. So you can see that I'm going to just do a nice half circle, and you can see that I'm almost halfway, not totally, but almost halfway on my angel. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to turn her again, and I'm going to make an aura. An aura in Zentangle is like doing a copy line.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're echoing the line that just came before it, right? So you can see I've got the first line, and then I've got this nice area that I'm going to be able to work inside.
Exactly.
And
let
then,
me translate it, Romi, please.
Sí,
Dice Romi que en este momento ella está dibujando un semicírculo en la parte inferior del ángel, que es el grande. Luego ella está dibujando lo que le llamamos nosotros aura en inglés, que es la repetición o el reflejo de un semicírculo. Entonces, dejen espacio suficiente entre los dos, la línea de los semicírculos para poder decorarlos. Ok, Romi.
So I'm going to keep on going, and I'm going to make an even smaller circle right at the bottom.
Oh, 3.
And I'll do a little aura right behind it. So this is a tight aura, a smaller aura. It's closer. Más cerca? ¿Sí?
Yep. Ya más cerca, yes.
Sí.
Muy bien, Romi, muy bien.
Okay, so here we go. So we're going to learn.
If it doesn't look exactly like Romi's, because there are no mistakes in Zentangle. All of them are going to be different, okay?
And we want them to be different. We don't want, no quiere estar mismo, quiere estar diferente.
Yes. No se preocupen si no les sale igualito. Queremos que todos sean diferentes y que no sean iguales, okay?
Okay. So now that we have our beginning for this, we're also going to go into our wings, and we're going to do an aura inside of the wings. So you can see that I've got this really nice outside area. So I'm going to come into the wing, and I'm going to do an internal aura.
Okay, right. Hoy Romi está haciendo auras en lo que son las alitas. Perfect.
One step at a time, one line at a time.
Un paso al mismo tiempo, un paso. No corran, vamos a ir uno por uno, okay?
Yeah, don't run. Just walk.
Beautiful. Vamos a ir uno por uno, así que no hay que correr, no se precipiten, ¿ok?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to build inside of our piece here. So you can see that I'm going to pick up my pen, and we're going to start to create our tangles. So I'm going to come in, and you can see there's my seam. Yeah, perfect. That's great. So you can see here's my seam right here. I'm going to use that seam to my advantage here, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start by creating a nice triangle right in here.
Okay. Un triángulo. So now we're using the markers, right? The
yes.
Yeah. Vamos a hacer el triángulo con marcador. Excellent.
Then I'm going to make a second triangle. So you're going to see me come in, and you'll notice that my triangles are a little bit narrow.
Mm-hmm.
You can see my circle isn't perfect either, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'd rather it be human than be perfect. And you can see I'm going to let that go off to the side there. And I could do another one right over here just to make it, let it go off to the side. Okay. Now I'm going to do something that we call an overdraw. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my ink and go right over where my pencil lines are.
Okay. Ahí vamos poco a poco. Don't worry if everything is going differently. As Romi said, even hers is not perfect because it's not perfection. We are human beings and it's better to be humans. Yep.
Yep.
And I don't know why I'm telling this in English. It has to be in Spanish.
Okay. I'll say it in Spanish for you. Okay.
Yes.
Lo siento, mi español no está perfecto. Necesito practicar más. Pero si este no está perfecto, siempre está bien. Don't worry about it. Está bien.
I love it. Como ven, dice Romi que si no quedan perfectos no importa, porque eso es lo que le va a dar el toque personal.
Yep, you got it. You got it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come in here with my pen as well. And I'll just go right over the top.
Okay.
It's almost like a little bit of a dress rehearsal, as it were.
Perfecto. Vamos a decorar el de las alitas también. Ah, ya lo vamos a marcar, el lápiz con marcador. Excelente. Un paso a paso, ¿verdad, Romi?
Okay, so we are going to learn our first tangle, and you're going to see that there's going to be a repetition that happens inside of this piece. So I'm going to teach this and then we're going to use it. So we're going to learn something called well, and I'll show you what I mean by that.
I love well.
Well is good. Well is one of those wonderful things. Yeah. Well, okay. So well, I'm going to make a triangle.
Vamos a utilizar un trazo que se llama well. Así que miren a Romi.
So I'm going to put a circle inside of well. And if you want to grab a piece of scratch paper, you can, practice on some scratch paper.
Oh, good. Si quieren practicarlo antes, pueden agarrar un pedacito de papel, hacer el triangulito y practicarlo para que ya después lo hagan bien en lo que es el angelito.
Okay. So now what I'm going to do with the circle inside is I want you to think of the number 6. The número 6?
Número 6, yes.
Número 6. Mira número 6 aquí. See? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make the number 6.
Oh, great. Miren, es como el número 6. Desde la punta hasta...
So I'll turn my page counterclockwise here, and I'm going to make the number 6 again from this point to this point.
Tienen que rotar lo que es el triángulo.
I'm going to go counterclockwise again, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to come in right here, and I'm going to do the number 6.
Excellent.
So when you're doing Zentangle, you'll end up moving your tile quite a bit. That is part of what they do. So working in smaller spaces is always nice because you can turn your tile much more easily. So when you look at this, that's the tangle well.
Beautiful.
Okay, so I'm going to take this off to the side and we're going to come back to our angel here. Can you see our big triangles? Not the narrow triangles, but the big ones that are up on top?
Yes.
Those are the ones that we're going to work with here. So I'm going to zoom in on those here. See if we can get closer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by putting a circle right in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to start right there. So I'm going to make the number 6 right here.
Excellent.
And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make it right here.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
And then I'm going to go ahead and make it right there.
Excellent. Miren
Okay.
qué lindo. Perfecto.
So you can see now that I've got this to do, this to do, and this to do. So we get into the repetition of Zentangle. This is where the meditation happens because it's repeating. So I'm going to skip this and come over here and I'm going to put in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go ahead and I'll make the number 6. Number 6. And once more, number 6.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Okay. Coming back to the center again, always coming back again. You can see I'm going to do it again right here.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, turn your tile. Number 6, turn your tile. Number 6, turn the tile. And you can see, look at how that's making such a beautiful pattern already.
Yes. Yeah. Miren qué lindo el patrón que se logra haciendo el primer trazo que se llama wells. Beautiful, Romi.
And remember how we started? It's just the number 6 inside of a triangle. That's all it is.
Yes.
So when you get overwhelmed, you just come back to, I'm just drawing the number 6. That's it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And if I had asked you to do this earlier, you would have said to me, lady, you're crazy.
Dice Romi que por eso les dijo que podían practicar lo que es el trazo de well en un triangulito antes de hacerlo. Y miren, todo se comenzó con un circulito y el número 6. Un circulito y el número 6. Miren qué lindo el patrón que han alcanzado. That's beautiful. And if you just look at it like this, if you want to draw it without knowing the step-by-step, Romi, it looks very complicated.
It does, but it's not. It's one step at a time.
Excellent.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So for this next one, we're going to come back to the basics here. So remember how you were talking about crescent moon?
Yeah.
So crescent moon.
Yeah. Vamos a aprender el trazo número 2 que se llama luna creciente, crescent moon. Practíquenlo en un papelito antes de ponerse los angelitos, ¿ok?
Mm-hmm. So crescent moon is just what it sounds like, right? It's just an arc. Now, in my crescent moon that I was doing in this piece, I added a little triangle on the inside of it to make it a little bit interesting. Now, sometimes when people do crescent moon, they have a tendency to do an aura around it. So you could do an aura if you wanted to, but today we're going to keep it simple. Okay. So just a crescent moon is going to be fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our angel. And I want you to see where I'm working. I'm working here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to work here. Okay. I find that if I don't say that, people will work on the outside. So I'm just working on the inside. Yes. So what I'm doing is I'm going to start right where my seam is. You can see my seam right there. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to start by making a crescent moon, or it almost looks like a scallop. Yeah. And I'm just going to go ahead and make my crescent moons.
Miren, estamos repitiendo lo que son las lunas crecientes arriba de el trazo de well. Miren qué lindo. Beautiful. In one moon, one by one.
One by one, just one step at a time.
Yes. Romi, you are a great instructor. Even your voice gives peace.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, I love it. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put my little triangles inside of my crescent moon, and it almost looks like a wave.
Yes.
Like the ocean, right?
Yeah. Miren qué lindo. So you can see how beautiful it looks now. It looks a little bit intricate now. I love it.
It's on its way.
Yeah. This angel is going to look fabulous.
Yes. So once you have your triangles in there, I'm going to do something we call puddling, which means like you're pooling ink in an area or there's a puddle of ink. So all I'm going to do is just add a little puddle of ink inside of my triangle.
Ok. Ahora van a pintar adentro de su triangulito. Miren qué bonito. Great. Super relaxing.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. That's the whole idea.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I love it. Ajá. Ok. Miren cómo vamos, poquito a poco con Romi. Romi es una gran instructora. No se olviden de visitar el canal de YouTube de Romi para que puedan aprender más. De la misma forma que Romi les está enseñando acá, ella les enseña en su canal de YouTube. I was telling everybody, Romi, that the same way that you are teaching here, you teach in your YouTube channel. So go and visit Romi's channel in order to learn more and more and more. That's Tangle Yogi. Look, YouTube.
Okay, so we're going to continue on. Sound good?
Yeah.
So we're going to add to this, and we're going to learn a tangle that is one of what I call a mac and cheese tangle or a comfort tangle.
Wow.
This is called henna drum. This is one of my favorite tangles to do. And the reason why I love it so much is because you can put it in everything. And it really gives a beautiful feel. So henna drum is, it's an arc. And then you're going to give your arc some antennas. See, now kind of looks like he's like got the head of a butterfly, right?
Yeah.
And then on the outside, I'm going to do some more antennas. And I'll put one over here as well, just to keep it interesting.
Beautiful.
Almost looks like the sun, right? Like rays of the sun.
Yes.
Then what we're going to do is we're going to come to the inside antennas first.
Oh.
Right?
Wow.
So if I was going to keep on going, I could keep on going and let it float right off the page if I wanted to. Yeah? And then to make it interesting on the inside, you do a long line with a little bit of curve, a shorter line, and a shorter line. So long line, shorter line, shorter line. Long line, shorter line, shorter line. Okay? Henna drum. Okay?
Miren qué lindo el trazo de henna drum. Dice Romi que al principio luce como un solecito, pero ya cuando ustedes le agregan los detalles, se ve como una florcita. Las líneas de que se ven en cada pétalo, la de en medio es más larga que las otras dos. That looks beautiful. If you made a complete circle, it's going to look like a flower.
That's right. It would be a full flower, right? But because we're working on half of a mandala here, I did half. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm just going to start by doing some antennae. So I'm going to come in just the way we started. And then an antenna right there and right there.
Yeah. Skipping one, right, Romi?
That's right. But watch, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to build, right? So I'm just going to make more and more. Right? I'll come over here and do more.
Yeah.
And more.
Okay.
Okay, now. So just creating your arcs first. Remember, one line at a time.
Yeah.
It's just one line at a time. So take a breath, relax your shoulders. No anticipation, just to be with it. So
Yes.
now we're going to come in right in here, and I'm going to make a wavy line that goes down and over.
Ujú.
Same thing over here.
Yeah.
It's going to come in and down and over.
Ujú.
Always the inside lines. Always the inside lines.
Yeah. Hagan eso siempre solamente con las líneas de adentro, ¿ok? No con la de afuera, sino que con la de adentro. Beautiful.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to puddle. So remember the idea of pooling ink. So I'm just going to pool ink above the petal.
Ujú. Vamos a poner tinta ahí. Miren qué lindo queda. Precioso, precioso. Wow. You know that I had to start the angel again? I made a big mistake. Do you know which one? I made well in the thin triangles. So it was very weird.
Oh, well, it could have been interesting, though. I hope you'll finish that angel so that we can see what it would look like in the tiny triangles, because that would be interesting too. Remember what I said. Remember what I said. There are no mistakes, only an interesting diversion or an interesting detour. So it would be interesting to find out what would happen, because what could you put in the bigger triangles that would make it interesting? There are so many other tangles that you can put in there too.
Yeah.
You can see that I'm starting to pool in those areas.
Wow. It looks so beautiful. Miren qué lindo se ve. Solamente tenerlo así se ve precioso. Now imagine, Romy, for people who like, they could take after another sheet of paper and make the whole circle with this design, and it's gonna look amazing. Después pueden tomar ustedes una hoja y hagan el círculo completo. Les va a quedar divino.
Yeah, can you imagine what that would look like? It'd be so beautiful. And to actually do the full mandala and then do a origami with it. How gorgeous would that be? Yeah.
I love it.
I love it too.
I love it.
So I'm going to start making my little detail lines. So long line and 2 short lines right there.
Okay. And if you pay attention, it's so easy to follow. It's very easy to follow, yeah? Es muy fácil de seguir. No hay donde perderse. Miren qué lindo.
Yeah, just one step at a time.
Yes.
If you look at the whole thing, it would be intimidating. But if you just look at one little part of it, it's really interesting.
That's true. Miren lo que dice Romi. Si ustedes ven el diseño completo, puede ser intimidante. Pero si ustedes van haciéndolo paso por paso, ya no es intimidante, sino que es más sencillo. Wow, beautiful.
So you can see that I've got the narrower triangles here. I'm going to add some lines in there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it into thirds. So I'll go 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Okay. So not in well, but in the ones that don't have anything in them.
Okay. Vamos a dividir los triángulos más delgados en 3. Línea central y una línea justamente a los lados. Miren, en 3. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, my goodness. Si no se enamoran del Zentangle ahora, ya no hay lugar para enamorarse en otro tiempo, créanme. Beautiful.
How's everybody doing? I'm doing okay.
Okay.
All right. So now we're going to keep with this idea. Remember, well, it looks beautiful. That looks beautiful. So you remember the idea of well over here? We're going to mimic it with a different tangle, but it's related. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to do something called spoken.
Mhm.
Looks like spoken, but not totally. This is what we call a tangulation.
Okay.
A tangulation is it's a variation on a tangle,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
So remember in well over here,
Mhm.
we just did the number 6.
Yeah.
Now let's just say that you had a circle
Mhm.
and you put a circle inside.
Mhm.
So I want you to think of a bicycle wheel.
Yes. Mhm.
The spokes of a bicycle wheel. Remember, it's just the number 6.
Yes.
That's all we're doing is the number 6, right?
Yes.
So
How do you say it's the variation of a stroke or a tango?
it's a tangulation. So
Tangulation.
tangulation.
Tangulation. Miren qué interesante. Estamos haciendo lo que se conoce como tangulation. Eso significa la variación de un diseño ya establecido. Como estuvimos practicando wells, que es del triangulito, ahora estamos haciendo ese que se llama spoken y es una variación. Y no es un triángulo, sino que es un círculo y parece una rueda de bicicleta. ¡Wow! Tangulation.
So this is where we're going with it. So you can do spoken in anything. Now, one of the ways that people do spoken is that they put a triangle on the end of it and pull it in. But we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to make little arcs inside of our piece here.
That's what we're going to do now. Eso es lo que vamos a hacer en este momento. Miren qué bonito. Wow.
Okay, yeah. So that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to come in over here and we're going to do it in our wing. Okay.
En la salita vamos a hacer eso. Okay.
And if people want to do this in their graphite, they're welcome to do it in their graphite. But if you're, if you're a strong tangler and you feel confident with it, you can do it that way too. So in the center of this, I'm going to put a circle. Now, once I have my circle, I'm going to start by making the number 6, right? So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to make the number 6. Okay. So it kind of looks like an elongated 6.
Yep.
Then I'm going to come around and I'm going to do another one right over here. You can see that I'm just turning and putting in my spokes. The spokes of your bicycle, right?
Yeah. Yes. En Zentangle ustedes tienen que ir girando el diseño. Wow, that's very pretty.
Okay, so it just looks like, and I could even probably do one more right here just to divide the space. It doesn't have to be perfect because angel wings and bird wings, they are all different. Yeah, mira, muy bonita.
Gracias.
So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do an aura on this very tightly. So you can see I'm going to come in and I'm going to go in right here and go very narrow.
Okay.
And create an aura. You might want to tell them.
Okay. Hoy estamos creando una aura. Recuerden que la aura es el reflejo de otro trazo. Wow. When I saw your wings, the wings of your angel, I saw, oh my God, that's so beautiful. That's what I thought. And it's very complicated. But in this way, the way that you are explaining it, it looks so not easy. It looks something that I can do, something I can achieve.
One step at a time. It's magic.
Yes.
It's magic. Just one step at a time. And just like anything that you ever learned, you had to learn it one step at a time.
Exactly. One step at a time.
One step at a time. Mira, bonita.
Gracias. Hermosa.
Here we go.
So
we're going to continue on. We're going to work in the triangle. Notice how I'm starting from the outside in, always from the outside in, okay?
Vamos a ir desde la parte de adentro hasta la parte, desde la parte de afuera, la superior hasta la inferior. Miren.
And also always touching the border. See how I'm always touching the border when I come in?
Yes. Siempre tienen que tocar el borde. No lo vayan a hacer en el aire, sino que tienen que tocar el borde. Wow.
Now we puddle.
Vamos a rellenar con tinta negra. Miren qué lindo. I think that after seeing you, many people are going to understand why I am in love with Zentangle right now.
Yeah, it's something that you can become obsessed with, like origami, you know, how it's just, it's a passion.
It's a passion, yeah. And it's something good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is something that's a good passion.
Exactly.
It's a good obsession.
It's a good obsession, a nice one, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Relaja mucho. It relaxes so much. Miren qué bonito, va relajando y ustedes pueden hacerlo y practicarlo cuantas veces quieran. Todo va a ser diferente siempre.
Even if you were to just sit down and do one little tangle a day, it is so much fun. So let's just say I just sat down and I had a little piece of paper and I had a cup of tea and I just wanted to do spoken. Just to do one for 15 minutes if you're having a stressful day is going to be very relaxing for you. So what I always say to people is it doesn't have to be a big composition. It can be a small composition too.
Exactly, exactly. Romi nos estaba diciendo que no tiene que ser lo que ustedes hagan, no tiene que ser algo grande, sino que pueden hacer un pequeño, así como imagínense todos los diferentes diseños que ella nos ha enseñado. Ustedes pueden practicar un diseño diario y se van a divertir, se van a relajar y van a aprender. That's true.
Yeah. Sometimes when I teach for the library here, I talk about how if you're reading a really good book and you don't want it to end, you just do a couple of pages and then you save it for later. I always say whenever I'm working on a very big project, sometimes I'll just do a little bit and then save it for later so that I can savor what I'm doing.
Yes. You teach in the library?
Yes, I teach for the San Rafael Public Library and for the Napa Public Library.
Oh my goodness, your students are so lucky. Wow.
Well, right now we aren't meeting in person. We do Zoom.
Yeah.
But we do when COVID is not happening, which I'm hoping one day will be soon.
Yeah.
We will be back together. So,
yes.
But yes, it's wonderful to practice this together in a room. As you know, when you teach origami to students, it's so wonderful in the end because you can all look at each other's work and enjoy it.
Exactly. Romi trabaja en una biblioteca. Entonces, en este momento no están trabajando en persona todavía, sino que están teniendo clases en Zoom. Pero, ¿se imaginan ustedes una clase de Zentangle con una maestra como Romi, donde ustedes están aprendiendo todo este proceso, donde están platicando? ¡Wow! Maravilloso. That's just wonderful.
So we're going to do the same exact thing on the other side of our angel here. So remember repetition. We're going to do the same thing over here. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to start again. And they are not going to be exactly the same. They never are.
Yeah. Dice Romi que vamos a hacer exactamente lo mismo en la otra ala del ángel. No se preocupen que nunca van a ser iguales. Así que eso es un toque personal. No vayan a tratar de hacerlo igual, ¿ok? Beautiful.
So fun. This is one of my favorite tangles to do because it looks complicated, but it's not.
No, it's not. It's not. I am going to practice it after in a circle, and after I'm going to show you, Romi.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, I love it. And now with the colors, it's gonna look magical.
It's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
So you can see I'm coming in and doing my auras now.
Yes. How is the weather there, Romy?
It's hot here today. It's going to be 85.
Yeah, it's going to be hot.
It's going to be hot, but that means it's summer. So
yeah,
that's good.
that's true.
Yep.
Yeah, also here is summer, but it's still not as hot as there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's windy and fresh. It's hot, but we still use a jacket. We wear a jacket.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the morning, not in the afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah. In the morning here too, we do.
Yeah. So every time I take my son to school, he must have a jacket. Yeah.
How old is your son?
He's 7.
Oh, that's such a sweet age.
Yeah, that's a fun age.
It is.
He wants to learn everything.
Oh, I love that he wants to do Zentangle with you. Does he do origami with you too?
He does origami, yeah, but it's not like he loves origami. Sometimes when he's bored, he practice some origami with me. You know what he likes? Video editing, because he sees I edit my videos. So now he takes his computer and he uses the program, and now he can make very good videos, and I'm very happy because of that. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, he told me, Mommy, when you are very old, Origami Maniacs channel is going to be mine.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
You've created a legacy.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. That's wonderful. I love that he's so into it too.
Yeah.
It must be wonderful to practice with him.
You know, he already knows your name and your work. And when he saw because he was checking when I was making the reel. So he told me, Mommy, she draws everything. And I said, yeah, she does. And you know what was his favorite? The cat.
Of course, the black cat.
Yes.
Yeah, the cats are popular. You know, I love working with the cats because it's just such a symbol for so many people. And I know that when we work with animals, like I do a lot of birds as well. And, you know, when we're working with symbols, especially like the angel, you know, people have stories that are tied to those images, and it becomes personal for them.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of personalizing things and making it be something that is special to that person, that has personal meaning.
That's true.
That means a lot to me, and I know that it means a lot to my students too.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Romy me estaba comentando que a ella le gusta mucho personalizar lo que es su Zentangle y también que su Zentangle cuente una historia. Entonces, yo le contaba a ella que cuando mi hijo vio su trabajo, lo que más le gustó fueron los gatos. Para las personas que les gustan los gatos, Romy ha hecho unos trabajos, unos Zentangles de gatos preciosos. Pueden encontrarlos en su canal de YouTube. Romy, there is one cat that it called my attention because you did that one for a friend because his cat passed away, right?
Yes, you're talking about Into the Mystery.
Yes.
Yes, and actually I just heard from them the other day, and I'm going to be seeing them soon, hopefully. But yes, they had a beautiful black kitty who was named Mystery, and they were my neighbor where I lived in San Francisco, and the kitty passed away. He was very old, and he passed away, and so I did that piece for them. And that piece is very popular for a lot of people, especially if they had a cat. You know, losing an animal is very, very sad, and they're members of our family, and to be able to do something in their memory, I think is very healing.
Exactly, yeah. Romy tiene entre sus creaciones, ella tiene un gatito negro que es muy lindo. Ese gatito negro, ella se lo hizo a unos amigos que su gatito se murió. Entonces, lamentablemente, el gatito murió y ella les hizo ese cuadrito. precioso. Búsquenlo porque ya lo van a encontrar. I'm ready.
Oh, yeah, look at that. That's amazing. It looks so good.
Thank you. I have a good teacher.
Oh, can I meet her sometime?
I wish. Yeah. I wish we could get together and tangle and make origami. That would be great.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So we're going to do one more tangle here, and this is one of my favorite tangles. This is called Spin Rose, and it really is just so beautiful and so much fun to create. These are wonderful to put on like letters when you send them to people, put them on envelopes and create a little garden on an envelope. I love that. So we're going to do Spin Rose, and I'm going to show you what that looks like.
Okay. En este momento vamos a hacer una rosa que se llama Spin Rose. Dice Romi que ella lo usa mucho en cartas, para decorar cartas, así que vamos a hacer ese tango acá arriba, Spin Rose.
So Spin Rose, the easiest way to do it is you're going to do a little circle, and then you're going to put an oval above the circle.
Yep.
And then we're going to come off to the side and start to create these little arcs. So it looks like the inside of a rose, yes?
Yeah.
Like when it's nice and tight. And then you start to create little waves. See that wave? Remember henna drum?
Yes.
It's the mismo, yeah?
Lo mismo.
So,
miren qué linda esa rosa. Comenzamos con un círculo, con un óvalo. ¡Qué linda! Spin Rose.
Spin Rose, because you're just spinning it around or going around in a circle and building and making them bigger.
Yeah.
And bigger and bigger. And you can do these as big or as little as you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Spin Rose.
Qué lindo, qué lindo. Dice Romi que es fácil de hacer y ustedes la pueden hacer grande, la pueden hacer pequeñita. Ustedes deciden. Wow.
And when we shade it, that's when it really comes to life. Look at how when we use the colors, it really starts to pop off the page.
Yes.
So when we shade this one, it will be really fun.
Wow.
So I'm going to go back to our angel. So that's Spin Rose.
That's a Spin Rose, yeah.
So we're going to come in, and remember, it won't look the same as mine. It'll look a little different because everybody's going to put theirs different. So I'm going to come up just a little bit above my mandala here, and I'm going to put my circle, and then I'm going to put my oval. Now, once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do an arc and an arc.
Okay.
See if I can make that a little bit bigger.
Excellent. Arc and arc. It looks almost like a circle, right?
Yeah, just like a circle. Now you remember your henna drum, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a henna drum right on the top and an arc.
Okay.
And I'll do the same thing over here. You can see that it's going to be a little different than my original. That's okay. Because you can never do the same thing twice.
Exactly.
I'll go ahead and I'll... And then I'm going to build off of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and start to build right off the petals. You can see that I'm building right off the petals.
Yes. Wow.
And then I'm going to let it touch the mandala here just a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So there's one rose. And I did two on mine, so I'm going to do another one. So you can see there's one here and one here. So I'm just going to put another one on the opposite side. So I'm just going to go over here and do the same thing.
Beautiful. That looks wonderful. Wow.
Super fun and super
fun,
easy.
yeah. And as you say, you can do it bigger or smaller.
Smaller, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. You just play.
exactly.
Hugar, right?
Yeah,
Hugar.
yeah. Just be creative.
That's right.
Mhm. Wow, it looks fantastic.
I think I'll do one more up here.
Imagine it, that rose looks so complicated, but broken into steps, it looks very, not easy, but you can say, oh, I can do it.
Yeah. Now you can see that my roses aren't touching, that I have a little bit of space in here.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a gemstone in here. This is something that's very popular in the Zentangle world.
I have seen that. I never have done one.
So in here, I'm going to just show you. The idea is that we're creating a little gemstone, right?
Vamos
and
a
then
hacer una gema. Miren qué linda.
Right. Now, some people will do them with circles. And they're great for filling in spaces that you have, right?
Yeah.
So some people can even do them with triangles if you wanted to.
Mhm.
So you know, it just depends on the cut of
Yeah.
the diamond or the gem. So I'm going to come in on mine and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put it into the background here. You're going to see me just do a little arc and let it drop down and drop down. And then all of a sudden, there's going to be a little gemstone in there.
En este momento, Romy está haciendo una piedra preciosa, una gema. Ella nos mostró que hay personas que hacen una gema de forma circular, de forma oval, de forma triangular. Así que ustedes elijan cuál les gusta más. Ella lo ha hecho de una forma oval entre las dos rosas. Miren qué lindo. Wow.
So I'm just showing it on the screen so people can see where we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'll even put in a little one up here as a circle. And I'll do a little circle.
Wow.
You could even put one in on the side if you wanted to. I might put one down here just for fun.
Yeah. Ahí pueden agregar ustedes todas las piedras preciosas que ustedes quieran. Miren qué linda. Ahí ustedes jueguen, ustedes sean creativos. Oh, this angel is looking awesome.
And she's going to be so fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So there you have our tangles. Now we're going to start to add some color into this.
Yeah.
And the way that I think I want to teach it is I'm going to do half of the angel so that for time, you know, because people have things that they want to do. So we'll do half of the angel so you can see this is a mirror of this.
Yes.
So everything they learn over here, they can apply over here later when they want to sit down and do some coloring.
Exactly. Okay? Excellent. Nos está diciendo Romy que por cuestiones de tiempo, el ángel le va a pintar una alita nada más y ustedes van a aplicar la misma técnica a la otra ala, porque es un efecto de espejo. Entonces, lo mismo, vamos a hacer lo mismo. Así que, manos a la obra. Cojan sus colores.
Okay. So we're going to get our colors out. And I want to talk about color for a second. And we're going to start with blue, azul. Yeah. Mira, I've got the light and I've got the dark.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't matter what colors they use. I'm just looking for a light blue and a dark blue. Okay. Now, one thing that everybody should know when they start using color pencils is that each color pencil is 3 colors. You have your light, you have your medium, and you have your dark.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's about the pressure you put on your pencil. This is 3 colors.
Wow. Miren, Romy nos está diciendo que cada vez que utilizamos nuestros colores, un solo color tiene 3 tonos. El tono que es suave, el tono medio y el tono fuerte. Beautiful.
sometimes if a color is very light and you want some drama, you'll have a darker color nearby to create more drama inside of a piece.
Okay.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay. So let's go ahead and start here with our piece here. We're going to start on the wing. Okay. Now, I want to say that you want to have a sharpened pencil because it has a longer lead on it, and that makes it easier to color in. When we are coloring these in, we're going to leave our auras alone, okay? So we will not be coloring in the auras. We're only going to color in the wings, the petals.
Okay.
You'll see when I start, I'm going to start on the side of my pencil, not the tip, right? So no to the tip, on the side of the pencil, and I'm going to go very, very light.
Light, okay. Ok. Dice Romy que cuando ustedes utilicen los lápices, los de colores, que tengan punta para que sea más fácil para ustedes utilizarlos. Y en este momento vamos a utilizar, no vamos a utilizar la punta, sino que de ladito, porque vamos a hacer el tono suave. Y no vayan a tocar las auras, solamente el adorno de adentro, ¿ok? Ok.
Yeah. And you can see that when my pencil is moving, it's moving in little circles, and that creates a mist of color. Instead of going back and forth like this, a lot of people want to do this. You want to do little circles, just little circles. It gives that really, really nice soft mist of color.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for.
Okay. So imagine, today we are learning how to color. That's what I am afraid of, Romy, but now I am in love.
No, it's this is going to be your favorite thing. The thing that you fear the most is usually the thing that's calling your name.
Oh, I love that. Love it, love it. Miren, yo le digo a Romy que tengo miedo de utilizar los colores, pero me dice ella que no, que eso es lo que más me va a gustar, porque a veces lo que nos da miedo, cuando lo dominamos, es lo que más nos gusta. Así que ojalá. Oh, my goodness. That looks awesome.
Yeah. So now we're going to add a little shading to this. So we're going to start to press a little bit more on the pencil. So letting everybody just kind of catch up in here. So I'm going to come right in here, and you can see how I'm holding the pencil. Now I'm holding it up close, and I'm using the tip. I'm adding medium pressure, not the hardest pressure, but medium pressure right in here. And then outside, I'm going to add some, but you'll notice in the center, I'm leaving it light.
So medium pressure.
Medium pressure.
Even for the top, right?
Even for the top.
Yeah.
And still working in a circle. See how that pencil is moving in a circle? That makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Dice Romy que vamos a presionar un poquito más en la parte de arriba y la parte de abajo. Vamos a colorear en círculos, fíjense bien, pero vamos a presionar nada más para obtener el tono medio. El tono fuerte todavía no, ¿ok?
Sometimes people like to work very heavy-handed, just because, you know, in our society, when people get determined, they tend to be a little bit more heavy-handed. That's why I always teach light, medium, and dark, and that makes it much easier for people to understand and to figure out.
Yeah. Wow.
So you can see that just by doing that little bit, look at how much dimension that has brought to your piece.
Yeah.
And you could do this in black and white as well. Everything that I'm teaching you, you can also do in black and white.
Black and white, yeah.
So you can see I'm turning my tile like I always do, turning the angel and making it easy for your hand.
Exactly. No se olviden de irle dando vuelta al ángel, porque eso hace que su mano no le vaya a doler, sino que su mano se mantiene relajada también. Y dice Romy que esta técnica la pueden aplicar también cuando utilizan solamente blanco y negro. Pueden utilizar los 3 tonos del negro, lo que es el gris, el clarito y el tono más oscuro. It looks amazing. I love it.
Isn't that so pretty? It's so pretty.
Beautiful, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful.
And I find this part to be very, very relaxing because working with color, they've actually done studies with the brain. When the brain is taking in certain colors, it lights up certain parts of the brain. And so when you're working in cool tones or pastel tones, like what we would be doing with an angel, it's very soothing for the brain. When you're working with very vivid tones, it can electrify the mind and, you know, stimulate it. So color has just as much to do with when you're working with a piece as non-color, right? So black and white is different. It's a different experience than working with color itself.
Yeah, that's true. Dice Romy que cuando estamos trabajando con los colores, hay un proceso de electricidad en el cerebro porque los colores provocan cierto efecto en nuestro cerebro que los relajan. Entonces, ustedes saben que hay mucha electricidad en nuestro cerebro y cuando estamos haciendo algo que nos relaja, el cerebro está trabajando bastante. Entonces, es algo que es suave y es algo que es muy efectivo para que nuestro cerebro trabaje muchísimo. Wow, Romy, that looks beautiful. And it looks like a swirl.
It does. It has that feeling. So it's almost like a tangle inside the tangle, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to come in with my darker color now. You can see that I've got my darker color here. And I'm going to just inside the very, very center here, I'm going to start to add a little bit to it.
Hoy vamos a tomar el oscuro y vamos a pintar justamente en el centro. Oh, looks fascinating.
Beautiful.
Yeah. From now on, I love the colors because of you, Romy.
Good. I hope that colors are now your friend.
Yeah.
See, yeah, see? See?
Yeah.
So when you look at this, I'm going to zoom out for a second. So look at the difference between the two, the energy here versus the energy here. Just by adding a little bit of shading does so much for this piece here. It really changes everything. So even if I come into the tips here, and you can see I'm not going heavy with my pencil, I'm going very light because this color has so much pigmentation, and I'm going in little circles. But watch as we start to get more and more shading in here, it's going to give it so much more interest.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Miren qué diferencia más grande entre el dibujo con colores y el que no han, la alita que no han pintado. Qué lindo.
I'm just working my way around the outside and here, giving this a little bit.
Beautiful. You know, when I bought my colors, my son told me, Mommy, are they for me? And I said, no, these ones are for me.
Yep. Now you're going to be like, nope, you can't share.
Yeah. Fortunately, he loves markers more, so he uses markers. Yeah.
And markers are wonderful too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. There are so many different ways of applying color to Zentangle.
Yeah. That's very pretty.
I love the color pencils because you can experiment with them and it's not gonna stop you from playing. It's not like it's a complicated tool to use. It's actually quite easy.
Exactly.
So I'm going to share with you a little technique, and I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. So we're going to do some blending. And if you have a white color pencil in your set, you can grab your white color pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to go to where the blue, the darker blue is meeting the lighter blue. Just going to do a little circle right there, and you'll notice that it blends it out.
Yeah, yes.
So that you don't have a hard line of demarcation here.
Exactly, yes.
See how that just softened it up a little bit? So it's the wax in the pencil that kind of pushes the pigment around, gets it to soften. So see how that has a hard line of demarcation there? And then when I rub just right where the line is, it softens it up.
Exactly.
And that makes a huge difference in when you are doing the color.
Wow, that's a beautiful blending. Yeah.
Now, the other way you can do it is you can come back to the original color, make sure that your pencil is nice and sharp because it makes a big difference. I'm going to come down here. You can see there's my line of demarcation. And if I just do a little bit of my pencil right over the top of it.
Oh, yes.
See how that softens it up too?
Yes.
Not as much as when you do it with the white pencil, but it does do it.
Yeah.
And it gives it kind of a richness that you don't get with the white pencil. So there's two ways to go about doing your blending.
Yeah.
You want it to do your blending.
Excellent. Romy nos está dando dos técnicas para que los colores se puedan blending. How is blending in Spanish? Bueno, para que se puedan unir los dos colores y no se vea esa línea que lo divide. Entonces, la primera técnica es utilizando un lápiz, un color blanco. Entonces, justamente donde se ve esa línea de división que marca los dos colores, la diferencia, ustedes usan el blanco y van a ver cómo se degradan. Se degradan muy bien y se unen. Entonces, pueden hacer esa la primera técnica utilizando el color blanco, que es el color, la técnica que más le gusta a Romy. Y la segunda técnica es, como estábamos trabajando con celeste oscuro y celeste claro, pues que tomen nuevamente el claro y le vuelvan a pintar en la línea del oscuro y también se va a unir. Así que ustedes deciden, pero me gusta más con color blanco. I love the one more, the blending with white color, yeah.
Yes, everybody does, but I also wanted to bring in the light pencil because sometimes people don't have the white pencil, but you can't buy the white pencils. But you can buy the white pencils by the box.
Yeah.
So wherever you get your pencils from, you can talk to them and see if they can buy. I buy them by the box. I use my white pencils until they are just tiny. Yeah. So I love them. All right. So I'm going to do some more shading with you guys. So we're going to let this go. So later on, they can go and do the other side. Okay?
Excellent.
That way we save a little time with them.
Okay.
So, oh, it's so pretty. Oh my goodness. So pretty.
Thank you. You are so kind.
See, but now you have a tool that you know how to use, right? So now you understand color a little bit more. My hope is that you will come back to Zentangle and you will add more color to your pieces and play. I want to give you the tools to play. Yeah?
Yes.
So I'm going to take that blue again. And we're going to come down into the mandala here. And what I'm going to do, if I can get any closer, I don't think I can. So I'm going to shade half of my little thing. Now you'll notice that I'm staying away from my crease. If I go across the crease, I'm going to get a line. But if I just work around it a little bit, I won't get as much of a line.
Okay.
And you'll notice that I'm leaving a little bit of white right over here in this area. It's a little white right there.
Okay.
And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to press harder on that pencil. And I'm just going to do like a quarter of it.
Okay. Like a quarter, okay. Hoy vamos a apretar un poquito más y a darle un color más intenso, más o menos en un cuarto del semicírculo.
Now I have my darker pencil in my hand. I'm going to add a little bit of darkness right here on the side.
Cogemos el oscuro y vamos a darle un poquitito en el lado.
I'm picking up my white pencil and I'm going to blend just a little bit. So even here, a little bit and a little bit.
Ok. Ahí toman el blanco y van a agregarle un poquitito para que combinen, para que se combinen los dos. Wow, Romy.
Isn't that so pretty? So there's a little gemstone right at the bottom so that it gives it a little bit of gravity. You look at it and your eye immediately goes there. One of the things I talk about in my classes is having color that is all over the subject so that your eye has a place to land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the reason why I move the color around on my pieces.
Yeah.
Now, the other place that we're going to put this color is in the background of the angel here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to come in and we'll do one side of the angel so that people can do the other side later.
Okay.
So I'm just going to come in and you can see that my pencil is sharp. We want to make sure that the pencil is sharp.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start by little circles.
Mm-hmm. Coloreen de lado. Tiene que estar bien puntudito para que ustedes puedan colorear de lado.
And you can see I'm working on the side of the pencil and I'm going very, very lightly. And I'll come over behind the rose over here.
Mm-hmm. It's like the background, right?
That's right. This is our background.
Mm-hmm. Este es como el fondo. Miren, van a colorear de celeste todo el fondo, lo que no tiene ningún trazo. Oh. Beautiful.
I'm being careful around the crease so that I don't get a line because the crease will take on a line. So I'm dancing around it a little bit. I'm being very, very careful not to touch the crease.
Yeah.
You can see I'm just going in little circles and I can turn it so that it makes it easier for my hand here.
Cuando ustedes sientan, denle vuelta para que su mano esté en una posición cómoda.
I'll just keep turning because I'm looking at where I'm having any kind of separation. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to create a shadow that's going to be behind the flowers here.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that I'm going a little bit harder with that pencil now.
Ah, okay. Around the flower, right?
Yeah, around the flower, we're going to create a shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And behind the gemstone, we'll create a little shadow too.
Okay. Vamos a crear una pequeña sombra, miren, alrededor de las flores y de las gemas también. Wow.
I'll even come underneath the flower and give a little bit of shadow underneath, just to get, it just gives it interest.
It looks wonderful. Yeah.
Isn't it pretty?
It looks like if it pops up. Yes.
Yeah, like it would pop off of her dress. Almost like a pin or a brooch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I'll come in with my darker color really, really close.
Mm-hmm.
And just very, very lightly. I don't have to press hard because it's a darker color.
Yeah.
So just a soft mist of that darker color is going to come in here.
Okay. El color oscuro va a ser solamente en el borde. Miren, no le tienen que dar mucho, sino que es solamente en el borde. The effect is amazing.
Isn't that so pretty?
Yeah,
it just electrifies
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can see that just gives it such a nice softness.
Exactly, yeah. That looks great.
So I'm going to take a little bit of that white pencil now and I'm going to blur out my edges. So let me get right in there. And I'm just going to soften it up with that white pencil. So just a little bit of softening. Isn't that pretty when you add the white to it, yeah?
Beautiful, yeah. Looks beautiful, wow.
How's everybody doing? You doing it? Oh my goodness, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yay!
The first time I use colors and I'm in love with it, yeah.
See, good. See, now forever you will love color and color will be your friend.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, good. Okay, so let's add just a little bit more to this so that we'll do half of the mandala, we'll do in some in the roses and some in here, and then they can finish on their own, okay? So let's start down in the mandala.
Okay. En este momento vamos a trabajar la mitad de la mandala para que ustedes terminen la otra mitad después, para que no se nos haga el vivo muy largo. Y fíjense bien cómo va a decorar Romi la mitad de la mandala y algunos de los pétalos de la rosa.
So we're going to come into well, your favorite, and we're going to start with a light yellow and an orange.
Orange, light yellow and orange.
Light yellow and an orange. And it doesn't matter. You don't have the same exact ones as me, just a light yellow and an orange.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay? So a light yellow and an orange, and you're going to see my pencil is sharp. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub the side of the pencil into well. And you'll notice that I'm leaving the center alone. I'm just doing the petals of well.
Okay. Con el amarillo, con el borde, vamos a pintar wells. Wells, acuérdense que es el triangulito con el 6. Ese es wells. Excellent.
Now, because yellow, amarillo, is it's very translucent, we're going to use the orange right away. Remember what we talked about with the light, the medium, and the dark, okay? So we're going to go very light first. And we always go on the inside of the curve here. So I'm going to go a little bit very, very light, very, very faint. And I'm only going halfway. So you can see it's just very faint. Then I will go and turn my tile and look for it again. So I'm looking for the curve and I'm staying inside of the curve. And then I'll do it again.
Okay. Estamos utilizando el naranja, miren. En cada uno de los números 6. Oh, that's a good shading.
And then I'll go a little darker right on the black line.
Yeah.
Right here. And right here.
Okay. Oh. Y justamente en el borde nos vamos a ir súper fuerte. That's beautiful, Romi.
Isn't it so pretty? Yeah. And then when you grab your white pencil and you'll blur it out a little bit, it'll be even more pretty.
Yeah, I imagine, yeah. Wow.
So you can see that I'm just going to come in here, and you want to make sure that your pencil is clean because you don't want to drag that other color in there.
Yeah, yes. Siempre vean que su color está limpio para que no vayan a mezclar otro color que no nada que ver.
And you can see that when you use that white, look at how pretty that becomes.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful,
fun?
beautiful.
Yeah. Fun. Yeah. So we're going to take that same color and we're going to start to bring it in over into the roses in here. So I'm going to take the yellow and I'm going to go very, very softly into the yellow. Notice how I'm working on the side of the pencil. And I'm going to start to just add a dusting of it into the area.
Okay. Vamos a pintar los pétalos de la rosa con el amarillo, pero no usen la punta, usen el color de lado. Okay.
So nice and light.
Beautiful.
Okay, so it's a pretty wash of color at first. And then we're going to start to add a little bit of that shadow to it.
Yes.
So I'm going to pick up the orange.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, you want to have a nice sharp point.
Yes.
I'm going to go very, very lightly with the orange, and I'm going to create a shadow. And the shadow is going to go halfway through each petal.
Ok. Vamos a comenzar a hacer la sombra con el naranja. Adentro de cada pétalo, miren.
This is what I love watching a tangle that is especially designed for shading.
Yeah.
It just pops right off the page. And I think the spin rose is one of those tangles that when you look at it at first, you're like, okay. And then when you add shading to it, it comes alive. It becomes
Exactly.
what nature intended it to be.
That's true. Yeah. The shading makes a big difference.
Yeah. I know a lot of people who are not interested in shading, but for me, it just takes the Zentangle and brings it to life.
Exactly.
And that for me is really something special.
That's true, Romi. I prefer shading also. Yeah, it gives that special touch.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it brings it to life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks very deep also.
Yeah, it gives it dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives it dimension. So I'm going to come back in now, really close to the black line, and I'm going to push harder.
Ok. Acuérdense que siempre cerca de la línea va a ir súper fuerte. Ahí tenemos los 3 tonos que Romi dijo. Fuerte, medio y el que es súper, súper delgadito, que es súper suave. Wow.
And this is where I think you can really relax and enjoy yourself because you're fully immersed in what you're doing.
Exactly.
And I think that look at the difference between here and here.
Yes, totally different. And it doesn't matter that people made a mistake because the colors cover everything. And it looks beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, color is the great equalizer, in my opinion.
Exactly. I totally agree with you.
So I've picked up my white pencil and I'm just going in and softening it up so you can see that I'm doing a little bit of blending for them to see.
Exactly. Miren, no importa que ustedes se equivoquen, al agregarle ustedes colores, ustedes van a ver cómo se ve tan lindo, no importa que tenga errores, se ve precioso. I'm going to play more with colors, Romy, thanks to you.
Oh, goody. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yes.
I've converted you, yes?
Yes. Wow. Believe me, you did, yeah. It's not perfect, but for being the first time, it's.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. And you're gonna look at this and look back on this and go, I don't know why I was afraid of color. Color's my friend.
Yes, I can say that now. Wow.
So we're going to pick up a couple more colors and we're going to do the petals in here and we'll do the gemstones, okay? And then that'll be our final part of the piece here. So I have a pink and I have like a magenta. So if you've got a pink or a magenta or a red and orange, do it that way. But I'm just using a pink and kind of a magenta color.
Okay. Vamos a elegir un color rosado y un color magenta. Magenta, así se dice. Okay. You know, this is the first time I use my colors. I had them for a long time, but I never used them.
Oh, good. See, they've been calling to you. They've been saying, please, please.
Yes.
So I'm going to use the lighter color first. And I'm going to work on the side of the pencil again. Remember how we were talking about working on the side and how it creates a mist of color? So I'm just going to go into this and do the side of the pencil.
Okay. Vamos a colorear con el lado, lo rosadito.
And you can see I'm just doing half of the mandala so that for everybody it's quicker and they can work on the rest of it later. I'm going to take that lighter color and I'm going to just come in right up into the gemstones too. I'm only going to go halfway with the gemstones. So you can see that I'm just going in halfway. And I will do the same thing halfway here.
Okay.
And halfway over here too.
Cuando pinten las gemas, solo pinten media gema. No vayan a pintar todas las gemas. Y píntenla suave, suavemente.
I'm also going to come down into the narrow triangles. And I'm going to add a little bit into the narrow triangles. And you can see I'm going into it fully.
Ok. Y vamos a agregar el rosa también en los triángulos delgados. Wow. Beautiful.
Once you have that, we'll start to create the shadows again. So we're going to start by doing a shadow behind our crescent moons. So you can see I've got my darker pencil in my hand. And I'm going to go very, very softly. This color is very, very pigmented. So I don't have to go very heavy with it.
Okay.
So you can see it's just a very soft shadow. And I would say we're coming in just a little less than halfway through it. Halfway through the petal.
Okay. El color fuerte lo vamos a utilizar para que haga sombra de las media luna, ¿ok? Ay, qué lindo.
And you can turn your tile to make it work for your hands. So if you're, if you're finding that it's easier to move your tile around, move your tile so that it actually is working for your body here. Because if you're finding that you're contorting yourself, then you want to move it. And you can see now I'm pressing a little bit harder and adding a little bit of extra pressure to the pencil. And look at how it starts to glow.
Yeah.
Starting to pick up that glow. Isn't that so pretty?
Beautiful, yeah. It's glowing.
And you can take your white pencil and you can blur out your edges, right? So you can see that I'm going to come in and blur out the edges a little bit and soften it up.
Wow. What a change. Qué cambio. Más brutal. Wow.
Yeah. So that really gives that an electricity. Look at how it's starting to glow here. So, just looking at it, you can see that I just put my hand over the side that doesn't have it. And look at how electric this is. And then over here, it's just a little bit flat, right? Yes. So now we can take that same process and go into this area in here and create a little shadow around the gemstone.
Oh, yeah. Vamos a crear la sombra alrededor de la gema. It looks so pretty.
See how that starts to pop now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So you can see the difference between flat and with shading.
Yeah, that's true. Shading is just something that it makes it alive. I just remember Frankenstein. It's alive. It's alive.
It's alive.
Yes. Wow.
For me, when I'm watching a piece come to life, there's something that it brings me so much joy. I'm sure when you're doing origami and you start to see the piece come together, it's like, oh wow, it's amazing. Exactly. The process.
Yeah.
And you have to trust the process too. And I imagine with origami it's the same way. You have to trust folds, just trust them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm going to come into the gemstone up in here and I'm going to shade halfway down the pink. Just halfway down in the pink.
Okay. I have seen a lot of Zentangle with gems, and I always say, how do they do those gems? Because they really look like crystals. And
They do.
yeah.
They do. I'll come back up to the top now, and I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to pick up my white pencil. So you can see I've got my light pink, my medium pink, and my dark pink,
Exactly.
right?
The
And
three of
so
them.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the light pink first because I don't want to pull the darker pink down. I'm starting in the light first, and then I'll start to work my way up and start to soften this out a little bit. We really want to keep the light as much as we can.
Exactly, yeah. Dice Romy que siempre comiencen con el lado claro. Hay que trabajar de arriba, del centro hasta afuera, para tratar de mantener el lado blanco para que haya más luz en lo que es el diseño. Yeah, because if you keep the light, that is like, it's very shiny.
Yes, it gives it a little reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you can even take a little bit of graphite. So you can see I've got my graphite pencil here, right along the black line here. Very, very light.
Oh.
Like I want you to imagine tickling the page, like a feather. Touch the page like a feather.
Oh, yeah.
And just add a little bit of the darkness right up at the top.
Wow. Pueden coger su lápiz y hacer una rayita súper delgadita en lo que es la parte de arriba de la gema. Wow, beautiful.
Isn't that pretty?
Beautiful.
So I'm going to come in and do these gemstones right in here. So I'm just going to come in very lightly. I've got my dark in my hand. Very, very softly. I'm going to do a medium. And then I'll do a dark right behind it. Okay. So we want to make sure that we do medium first, then the dark.
Excellent. Medium and dark. Wow.
These are good habits to start with color, so that you remember that you just do a medium and a dark, always having a nice soft touch, because we do have a tendency to be really heavy-handed. And you're going to see me pick up my white again, and I'll blend that out a little bit.
Okay. And this is very interesting for me, Romy, because I didn't know about the color having 3 different tones. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about the amount of pressure that you put on it.
Exactly.
I'm going to put in a little bit of that black graphite into these guys as well. And you can see that I'm just going to do it on the side here. Just a touch of it.
Yeah.
Very, very
Pueden
delicate.
utilizar su lápiz para hacerle lo que son las orillitas a las gemas. Oh, that looks so beautiful.
And if you want to, you can take that same color and you can bring it over into your wing.
Oh, yes.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to shade very, very lightly down. And notice how in the middle I'm going to leave it light.
Okay.
So you can see right here how I have no color right there. So I'm going to go ahead and get in there.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it looks good. It looks beautiful. Fantastic. And people can play and they can use different colors. And
that's right.
Wow.
Yeah, I want them to. I want them to change it and make it theirs. They can do different tangles if they want to, however they want to. This angel is going to take on new life.
Yeah, that's true. So different angels.
Yeah.
Please, when you finish your angels, when you finish them, tag Romy, tag me, and tag Jose, because we want to see your angels. Por favor, cuando terminen sus ángeles, no importa cuándo, etiqueten a Romy, etiquétenme a mí, y etiqueten a Jose. So no matter when do you finish, right?
Right. No matter when you finish, just tag us.
Tag us because we want to see your work.
That's right. Show us what you have.
Yeah. Hey, that looks so pretty.
See how that was just a tiny little thing, but look at what that did to that wing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So one of the things I say to my students all the time, when you have a color here, put a color out there. That way your eye is looking at both places. When you're using similar colors, your eye will dance around the piece. It makes it more interesting, right?
Exactly, yes. Wow.
Okay. So there's one last thing that I want to teach, and then everybody can finish up on their own. And I hope I can zoom in on this. So you can see this is blue in here.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in with my white pencil and just add a little bit of white pencil going all the way up in here. And you can see what that's doing is that it's softening up that color.
Yeah.
It's blending up that color a little bit more. So I'm going to do that on the other side. And then we're going to do something that I call wallpaper. And wallpaper is when you tangle with the color that you've been coloring with.
Oh.
And so I saved this for last because it's one of my favorite things to do, and my students love it too. Because it takes a very quiet place and just makes it interesting. It doesn't overpower it. It just makes it interesting. So you can see that it's kind of blended in a little bit.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the darker color and I'm going to show the tangle that we're going to do. And it's a version of Crescent Moon, and but it's also a different tangle completely. And I'm going to probably misspell it because I'm so dyslexic, but this is called Shattuck.
Oh, because the names are sometimes they are very strange. Yeah.
Yes.
Shattuck.
So Shattuck. And what Shattuck is it's an arc and an arc. And then you build off of it.
Oh. I have seen that one, but I thought that it was Crescent Moon. Oh, it's different.
It's just I'm going to say it's a variation of Crescent.
Yes.
Right? Because they're just, they claim that it's a different tangle, so I will listen to them, but I see it as a tangulation. Yeah. So it just builds off of it. And so in my angel, can you see?
Yeah, I can see them. Yes, yes.
Yes, okay. So I'm going to take my angel. Let's get this off of here so that it's nice and clean. And so I'm going to take my darker color. So darker color blue, and you can see that I have a point here.
Exactly, it has to be sharp.
Yeah, you want it to be sharp, not too sharp because it'll probably break. But you're going to see me start to come in, and I go nice and slow when I do my wallpaper because I want it to really look like I'm taking my time.
Yes. Miren, en este momento Romy está explicándonos la técnica que se llama wallpaper. Wallpaper es que ella va a hacer este trazo que se llama shadow, no sé cómo es que se llama bien, pero lo va a hacer con el mismo color azul, con el oscuro, y va a quedar como un background, queda como un wallpaper. Miren qué bonito. It looks good.
Doesn't that look so pretty?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it's like wallpaper.
It looks very pretty.
I mean, this is, I think you would see like this in an Art Deco design. And I think our angel has a little bit of Art Deco to her.
Yes. Wow.
And I stop a little bit below where her face is going to be. It almost could be her feathers if she had feathers.
Yeah, that's true. It looks like feathers.
It could look like feathers.
Wow. It looks really pretty.
I'm going to put it right there.
It's really like a wallpaper.
It is. It's like a wallpaper.
Yes.
And when I saw the angel finished, I was so astonished. I'm so grateful that you created this and put it up on YouTube for me to find, because I love this piece. This piece is something that I think I would make many of them and leave them for people to find. You know how they have the days where you can go out on, I think it's on social media. It's like called found art, where you leave it for people to find. So like you
Yes,
could hang
yes.
it, you could hang these little angels from like little trees in your park, and if somebody found it, they could take it home with them. Or you know, you could make so many of these and share them with friends. And I think this would make a wonderful gift for someone as well. So thank you so much for creating video so that we can play.
Thank you to Jose Meusen, who gave me permission to follow her beautiful angel.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, Jose. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you know, this one we made it for Christmas, I remember, and it was awesome. It was so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine that this would be very popular around Christmas time for sure.
Exactly, yeah. Wow. Miren qué lindos, qué bonito. Puede levantarles mi angelito. It's not perfect, but look, Romy.
It's perfect to
It's
me.
first time I use colors.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that this is so lovely, and I hope that do you want to show them how to pop it so that they can, when
Yes,
they
yes,
finish?
yes. I am going to, again, we are going to see how we're going to finish the angel. So I'm going to show you. It's very easy. We missed just 2 steps, and you're going to see. So let me put this one here again, and I'm going to show you. We missed just 2 steps to finish the angel. So we're going to finish it now. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Okay. If you remember, this is what we have so far, okay? This is what we have so far. This is what Romi decorated right now. This is exactly what we have now. Now, what are we gonna do? Very easy. We're going to take our angel and we are going to fold here. Look, we're going to bring this one down like this. And we're going to try to make this one like a little butterfly here. There, one. And we're gonna do the same here. Oh. This is how we're gonna do it. From the beginning until here. Look. So the angels looks like this. Let me see. I'm doing it right, yeah. Let's try to leave it here, this side. Like this, okay. Then when we have it like that, the angel is gonna be with the wings like this. Vamos a tener el angelito para acá y vamos a plegar los bordes hacia adelante. So we're going to bring these borders to the front. Vamos a plegar los bordes hacia adelante, miren. Y luego vamos a traer la cabecita hacia adelante. Y ya nuestro ángel queda plegado de esta forma. Ahora fíjense bien, si lo podemos dejar así y lo podemos hacer 3D como lo hizo Romi. Al hacerlo 3D, le vamos a poner un poquito de pega acá. Déjenme ver, por acá tengo pegamento. Le vamos a poner un poquito de pega por acá. Y luego vamos a traer esto y lo vamos a pegar así. Lo pegamos de esta forma. Coloquen su dedo acá. Lo pegamos. Y esto que está acá lo vamos a suavizar. Lo vamos a hacer como redondo. So we're going to make soft this one. Like rounded. And your angel is going to be 3D. And it's going to be able to stand. And if you decorate it like we did today, it's going to be just awesome. Look, I'm going to add glue to this one. No, I am not going to add glue yet because I have to decorate this. But this is the way your angel is going to be 3D. You just add a drop of glue there, and you are going to make it rounded here, and you're going to have a 3D angel. Okay, Romy, wow. I love how the angel looks.
Isn't she pretty?
Yeah, it's so pretty. As you say, oh, for the people who like to prepare Christmas ornaments in advance, I think this one is going to be an excellent option. Miren qué lindo. Lo voy a pegar. I'm going to glue it. Here. And then, wow. And you make it rounded.
And you can imagine these in all different colors and all different shades, and it would be so pretty. And you could probably just attach a little string right under her wings and hang her from a window or a Christmas tree or wherever you want to have her. You can put her, you know, to hang on the wall too. It would be perfect to just be a little art piece on the wall.
Exactly. It's going to be a beautiful angel. I love all these decorations. Wow. So you can begin making your Christmas decorations beforehand, and it's going to look amazing. Yeah. Wow. I love it.
Yay!
Look at those angels. Okay, Romy, I want you back because I want to take a picture with you. I am going to turn on the comments again. Voy a activar los comentarios nuevamente para que nos digan qué tal les pareció el proceso del angelito, ¿ok? ¿Y qué tal les pareció el proceso de lo que es Zentangle? So I'm turning on the comments again so you can tell us what you think about Zentangle, what you think about combining Zentangle with origami, and this is the result. You can finish it whatever you want, when you have time, when you want to relax, because I know that some people have something to do. But look, wow, that's beautiful, Romy. That's very pretty. Hold it like that. I'm going to take a picture of both of us. That's beautiful.
I love the way yours is coming out. It's so beautiful. I'm so excited that you are trying color for the first time, and Zentangle with your origami is such a perfect match.
It's the first time I'm using colors. Es la primera vez que utilizo colores, y ustedes pueden ver que a pesar de que yo no tengo la experiencia, even though I don't have the experience, it looks beautiful. The angel looks very pretty. And well, is there anybody who wants to show us the angel? Somebody says over there, I love this technique. Thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure. I'm so happy, and I hope that we'll see you again very, very soon. Come visit me over at Tangled Yogi, okay?
Yeah. Please, everybody, don't forget, when you finish your angels, tag 3 persons. Tag Romy, tag Jose. Oh, there is Jose. Let me see Jose. There is Jose. Let me see if I can bring Jose. Jose. Uh-oh. Sephirot. Okay, Jose. Tag 3 persons. Tag Romy, tag Jose, and tag me so we can see your angels. Visit and follow Romy. If you follow Romy in Instagram, you go to her profile and you are going to see Romy, and you are going to see all the information. Yeah. Jose, are you there?
Yes.
We cannot see
I
you,
don't know
Jose.
how to do it. How do I do it?
Turn on the camera. Oh, I think we can see your picture.
Yes.
Romy, she is Jose Melsen, the designer of the angel. So there you can see Jose. It's beautiful.
Almost finished.
There you see.
Oh, so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for this beautiful Origami
Yeah.
Angel.
See, this was my original version.
Oh,
Oh, look! That was Jose is really good with Zentangle. And look in the background, she has some
see,
paintings.
I would draw
Yeah,
this.
look,
oh, look at that. Oh, wow. Look at
that's beautiful. Yeah. For me, it's a pleasure to be with Jose because Jose is a very
Yeah.
famous origami designer, and with Romi, who is a very, very good and talented Zentangle instructor. Thank you so much for both of you because it was amazing. Thank you, my beautiful ladies.
Well, thank you for being my
Thank you.
teacher.
Thank you, Mariela. And thank you, Romi. It's really, really beautiful.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for making this so that I could go and play with her. So thank you so much. And thank you so much, Mariela. I really appreciate this. This has been so fun.
Thank you. So the live is going to be safe for everybody. El vivo va a quedar guardado para que puedan terminar sus angelitos. Romy, Jose, and everybody over there, y todos ahí, thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias. This is for you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you. We are waiting for your angels, okay?
Thanks a lot.
Estar esperando sus angelitos. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, beautiful ladies.
Bye.